Welcome to the Life After Sugar podcast, the podcast that's not just about sugar, but about your relationship with it and also with food and especially with yourself. So if you want to discover your life after sugar and hear inspiring stories from all kinds of people who also cut out sugar in their way, at their pace, for their own reasons, this is the podcast for you. Because when you take away the sugar, you can finally discover the real sweetness in your life. I'm your host, Netta Gorman, and in today's episode, I'm joined by Dr. Anju, a functional medicine doctor who used to practice conventional medicine until she realized that, she wasn't really helping people heal. And that's when she started looking beyond prescriptions and towards nutrition and the root causes of illnesses. We'll get to our chat in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to tell you that if you're looking for some free resources, then I have plenty for you. First, download my 5 tips to get rid of cravings. And those 5 tips may not be what you think they are. So go to aftersugarclub.com and download your 5 tips today. And while you're at aftersugarclub.com, why not take the cravings quiz? I created this cravings quiz specifically to help you start thinking more deeply about what triggers your cravings. And when you do this quiz, you'll get your personalized score as well as my practical tips to help you take your first step to get rid of cravings. Those free resources are at aftersugarclub.com. And also, come check out the Life After Sugar Facebook page and subscribe to the Life After Sugar YouTube channel, as well as my Instagram account at My Life After Sugar, which is where you'll get all kinds of inspiration so that you can see that it's perfectly possible to live a happy and active life, even if you don't eat sugar. You can also check out my TikTok account at Netta_lifeaftersugar. All right, so I'm here today with Anju. And Anju, can you tell us how you grew up, where you grew up, and what you ate as you were growing up?
I grew up actually in New Delhi, India, and in the middle of the big city and the hustle bustle. But my mom was a stay-home mom, so she cooked at home. Unfortunately, even though the Indian food is very tasty, but it is very much fried food. A lot of it is fried food. Occasionally at home, you don't fry so much, only on the occasions. And then the desserts, obviously, I don't know if you know, there is a dessert called gulab jamun that we used to eat. It's like a ball of sugar almost. It's like a sugar and it's fried. It's actually fried. It's like a little ball that gets fried and then it gets soaked into sugar syrup.
Whoa.
And that's called gulab jamun. Listeners who know or have eaten Indian food, this is like the standard dessert in an Indian restaurant. So we used to eat that, but not that much. I don't think we ate so much, but we would eat it, on holidays or, festivals and things like that.
Okay.
And I think in India, I grew up, the food was great because my mom cooked everything at home and it was really good.
Yeah.
But not so much after moving to United States.
Ah, right. Okay. So how long have you been in the United States?
Oh, long enough. I've been here longer than I did in India. So I've been here over 3 decades.
Oh, okay. All right. Whereabouts in the States are you?
We're in California. So this is Studio City, Southern California, just north of Hollywood.
Oh, okay. All right. Can I ask what brought you over to the States?
Oh, personally, I was looking for a spiritual enlightenment and a meaning of life. I wanted to find out what is going on. And, what puts us here on this planet Earth. And I had just graduated medical school in New Delhi and just got my degree and everything. I was doing post-graduation there. But I was very not satisfied. even though it should have been a very joyous moment when I graduated medical school. But I just realized that this was not really a solution to end human suffering.
Hmm.
Because in the hospitals, there are people are packed in and they're like, they stay in the hospital for many, many days and weeks, sometimes months. This is like I'm talking about back in the 1980s.
Okay.
So it's been a while, but I don't know how much has changed. But in Delhi, it used to be like that. And so one day there was a strike by the residents in our hospital, and we were not allowed to go see patients. In fact, we were threatened that if we did go, it would not be good for us. So I kind of stayed home, and but I thought that it was really wrong that you're not allowing the patient, because I was driven to patient care because I really want to help people and their suffering and their physical ailments, and they just don't feel well, their pains and aches and whatever else they have. So I was kind of, I was kind of discouraged
Hmm.
from being there. So I was looking outside of India to see where I could go to find some answers. It just happens that I came here and I got the license in California and I started practicing medicine as a generalist, and I was a family doctor. But again, the same thing hit me, like I'm not really helping as much as I could if I knew the real technology of health. And so using the big pharmaceutical drugs were not going the direction of regaining your health holistically. And it was just causing more and more adverse effects for which now you need more drugs. So it was kind of a yo-yo, kind of a dwindling spiral. And so I realized, okay, I got to find the answers outside the box.
Mm.
And that's when I started researching nutrition. I mean, that was the first step, first step. In fact, the way it occurred was that personally, I also had a health crisis myself in the middle of all that. And I was like, okay, now I have to really find the answers. It's a personal battle now. And so that just kind of was like a catalyst. Anyway, I wasn't happy before, and this happened. I'm like, okay, now I got to really put myself in that place where I start researching. So the first thing I researched was nutrition, because logically speaking, you can't really make healthy bodies without the correct nutrition. Wouldn't you
And-
agree?
Yeah, oh, totally. And my question to you is, when you were studying for your medical degree in New Delhi, did you not study nutrition then?
Yeah, right. See, that's a good question. So I'm sorry to tell you that the total amounts of hours that we spend on nutrition is no more than maybe 5 hours in the whole 4 or 5 years of medical school.
So very similar to the States.
Very simple. I mean, it was a conventional mainstream hospital where I was doing
Mhm.
my medical schooling. So it was a Western medicine. I wasn't doing Ayurvedic or homeopathy. I was doing mainstream Western medicine. And so I graduated from the medical school. But again, I had no idea about nutrition. I remember my mom would always ask me, since I was now a doctor, she would ask me, "Hey, Anju, what should I eat?" And I would say, "Eat anything you want."
Uh-huh.
That was my answer. But obviously, that was not, I finally realized that was the opposite of what it should have been.
Yeah, and it's like we often get disclaimers on people's websites to do with food, that like nutritionists and whatnot to say, check with your doctor before making any kind of nutritional change. And I'm like, but the doctors only get, like you say, 4 or 5 hours of training.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the only training I got was ADA, like anti-diabetic diet, and then the renal failure.
Hmm.
And those are the two things they teach you. Those are the extreme situation, diabetic ketoacidosis, or like a really severe diabetes, and you have to do something. But even that is not exactly accurate of what each person needs, because I believe at this stage, I believe people are very different one from the other, and you can't say one size fits all
Absolutely,
in,
yeah.
yeah, in anything, including nutrition.
All right, so you got to this point where you were sort of asking yourself, like, is there more to it? And what was can I ask what your own health issue was?
Yeah, sure. No, my health issue was I was like getting older, right? And I had just, had a baby, and then I was just uh, I think it was like early 40s. I was early 40s, and things were moving in changing in the body, and the mainstream had doctors had no idea. I did all my testing, the standard testing, but nothing. I was just so tired. I was
Hmm.
just so tired. I couldn't sleep. Literally, I didn't sleep for months.
Wow.
And so it was like an urgent and it was emergency that I better find a solution fast. And so, I started researching. Nutrition was the first thing that I did. And I did hit upon something that was fantastic. And I still use it 20 years later in my practice now, in my functional medicine practice. And it works. It works because it's based on the fact that every person's metabolism is different,
Hmm.
and how your body handles the food. Particular, that it's not true that foods are bad or good, except maybe a couple of things like we will talk about sugar.
Oh,
But processed food, of course, are bad for everyone. But other than that, there is no food that's bad.
yeah. And I would say even sugar, I wouldn't say is bad per se. It's neutral, but the effects that it can have on your body may be bad. I just make that little distinction there.
Oh, for sure. Sugar, I believe the sugar, if it's processed, it's like immediately giving you a sugar spike if you eat a lot of it. And then you will get into, metabolic disorders. You will get into metabolic syndrome. But at the same time, like you said, there are some people that can tolerate it better than others,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
we all know. Yeah,
Yeah. And not everyone who eats a lot of sugar gets diabetes.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, did you specialize in nutrition or did you specialize in something else?
Yeah, this is interesting because as a medical doctor, I have a conventional medical degree, but everything I learned was outside the box and it was on my own. And I just researched on my own, went to different conferences. There are a lot of people that were trying to innovate and trying to figure out, push the envelope further and find the solutions, the real solution. So I was like right in the forefront when people didn't really know what an antioxidant is.
Hmm.
And now you see it on the billboards. People are pretty familiar with what an antioxidant is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're familiar with the term, not quite sure whether a lot of people are familiar with the ins and outs of what that actually means.
Yeah, I mean, it is not easy to understand the redox reaction. Even for me, I have to study it for a bit, and then,
Right.
but it's a complex. But the body is built, literally, it is built on redox reaction, which is reduction oxidation, right? So everything in the body will get oxidized and will get reduced, and it's just an exchange of electrons. That's what it is. So if you understand that, then you can understand the pro-oxidation and antioxidation.
And,
So there is a lot of misinformation and people don't understand confusion about it, but there is still a lot of research happening because it is a complex subject. But there's certain things that are pretty stable and we understand how that works.
all right, all right. So, as you were getting more and more knowledgeable about nutrition, what did you learn specifically about sugar?
Well, sugar has actually acts on the same receptors in the brain where cocaine acts.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it can get very addictive. It's almost addiction. It's like an addiction because it acts on the receptors. So it can um, make you feel very high, almost like a drug. So sugar could be called a drug.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. But not everybody gets addicted either. So
Right.
again, yeah.
And I don't think it's recognized as an addictive substance in the DSM-5. I don't know if it's going to be in the six. Do you know?
No, I don't think. I think the DSM are just uh, they are just the opinions of the psychiatrists that are in one room. They all decide, okay, we're going to call this, you know, arithmetic disorder.
Hmm.
Have raise your hands if you believe that. And so they raise their hands and then they take a consensus. That's
Aha.
how that DSM comes about. So
Hmm.
yeah, let's not validate the DSM anyways. So
Gotcha.
it's not something that is real.
All right, all right. So, all right. So, I guess during your 4 or 5 hours of nutrition training in regular Western medical school, I can tell me if I'm wrong, but I get the feeling that sugar was mentioned with relation to diabetes. But is that the case?
Yeah, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what you're telling me now is way more about the receptors in the brain and the addictive nature of sugar. And was that not talked about at all?
Mentioned? Oh, of course not.
Ah,
Of
okay.
course not. This I just learned recently, like recently means like a couple of decades ago, but that was never mentioned in the medical school at all. Maybe they didn't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe they didn't really know. There is a lot of research going on about various different receptors. They didn't really have that much knowledge at the time, I think, with the receptors. Plus, I mean, there is so much more to handle than the sugar addiction
Yeah.
because people are so towards the end, like they have a renal failure or a liver, failure, cirrhosis, then you're not going to think about sugar. Because this is a mainstream. Mainstream is basically waiting for you to get really sick. And then, so it's a sickness model where you're sick. So now let's do something about it. But you and I are in the area where we are doing not the sickness, but we're doing the wellness model.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different approach. They're not going to talk about sugar if you're falling over with the stroke, you see.
Gotcha. Yes,
Yeah.
makes sense. I want to take a quick break to say that if this is your first time here, then welcome and thank you for listening to this podcast. And whether you're new or a regular and you haven't yet rated or reviewed this podcast, could I ask you to scroll down and tap on the stars to rate this podcast and also to write a short review to let me know how this podcast is helping you in your life after sugar. I love reading your reviews. And when you rate and review this podcast, not only does it encourage me to continue making new episodes, but it also helps to share this podcast and have more people see it so that we can help more people feel better and lose weight with less sugar. So again, thank you for rating and reviewing this podcast and for spreading the word about sugar. And so you're in the world of functional medicine, right? That's what you practice now.
Absolutely.
Can you just explain in everyday language what functional medicine is compared to what Western medicine or conventional medicine?
Yeah, if you were to just use a very simple phrase to explain functional medicine, you would say it's a root cause medicine. It means that you're trying to find the root cause of your symptoms and you're not putting a band-aid for every symptom. So
And
you're
the
looking
root
at
cause is, what does that mean, root cause?
root cause. So, for example, let's say your gut has severe dysbiosis, right? And you have distension or abdominal pain or whatever you have. Then you could correlate and you can say, oh, okay, so I have severe dysbiosis. If I fix that, all my symptoms are going to go away instead of taking Pepto-Bismol, you see.
Right.
So we're not kind of giving you a band-aid medicine. We're giving you the underlying. So then you really have your pillars of health stabilized.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be shaky anymore. So the next wind blows over, you're not going to fall over.
Aha. Yes. Makes you
Right?
stronger rather than just
Yes.
treating the symptoms. And so you specialized in nutrition, but you also specialize in hormones and hormone replacement therapy. Is that right?
Absolutely. Actually, if you want to hear that chronologically how I arrived in functional
Yes,
medicine,
please.
yeah, I think I and people like myself were practicing functional medicine before it was known as functional medicine.
Hmm.
So we were working on the basic, okay, so the way you do it is you evaluate various different organ systems, whether it's a circulatory or a cardiovascular or gastrointestinal or neurological, whatever it is, you're evaluating each of these systems to find out, okay, what are the things that are not in homeostasis or balance, right? Excuse me. And you would find out what are the things that are out of balance so we can bring them all into homeostasis. Now you have done functional medicine. So the other thing about functional medicine is that we are not using drugs that are made by the big pharmaceutical companies because those are just band-aids.
Hmm.
So I think in my mind, I guess I am a mainstream doctor, and so I can say that there is a use of mainstream very important. I wouldn't say, it's all of it is all not right, but I think the mainstream is when you are really sick, you do need mainstream. If you're falling over with a stroke, you better go to the emergency room,
Oh, yeah.
and you need the help all help you can get to overcome your immediate problem. On the other hand, if you did functional medicine, you would not get to the point that you're falling over with a stroke. So you wouldn't be going to the hospital anyways. And
Hmm.
so there's various different ways you look at it. And what I do in my medical practice in California is my motto is that I want to keep my patients out of the hospital
Hmm.
by every means that I can. And we do pretty well.
And so I've read that, and I've heard other doctors say that prevention is like the toughest thing because patients are not compliant, or unless, you really are keeling over from a stroke, you don't necessarily recognize that you have a problem. Do you find that or not?
That's an interesting question. Usually I don't have the problem because patients may be coming in with certain kind of symptoms that they cannot get handled with the mainstream or their regular doctors or the primary care doctors. So they come here with, whatever, maybe it's migraines. They come in with the migraines, or they come in with the acid reflux, or they come in with abdominal pain, or they come with all sorts of they like this related symptoms. And so the primary care doctor tells them, oh, everything is okay. You just go home. Or they have a severe joint pains and they're getting all this biologics, but they're still having pain. So I'm like, okay, so that's when we start doing functional medicine. And these patients are very compliant. I'm sorry, but my patients are super compliant. The other reason is that we only take patients who want to get better.
Hmm.
We don't take patients who don't want to get better.
How
Okay,
can
that just
you how can you make that distinction between the patients who want to and those who don't want to get better?
well, it's just a simple question. Do you want to get better?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So they tell me yes or no. They think about it. And then you're like, okay, do you think you can get better? That's another key question. And then if they say, I don't think so, or I know I don't, then they're not the right fit. Because we are taking patients who are positive in their mental attitude, that they know they can make mountains move to get where they need to go to. And
Wow.
it's not even that hard. I mean, it is a little bit, but in the beginning, but once you get over it, you're good. It's not that hard.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And so how do people find you? I mean, I don't mean a website or anything, but how did they hear of you?
Oh, a lot of my patients are actually referrals. We get lots of referrals and we prefer the referrals because the patients are already familiar with what their friend or family has gone through. So it's easier because they're motivated.
Right.
And then, of course, they find me on the internet. We have a lot of, presence on the internet. And now most people, some of the last couple of patients told me there is a chat GPT.
Aha. Wow. You're on
I was like,
ChatGPT.
I know. I said, wow, really? Am I on ChatGPT? They say, well, we found you on a ChatGPT. I'm like, okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, great. The important thing is that they find you. And have you ever told patients, suggested or, recommended for them to cut out sugar?
That's the first step. So when we do the programs, take patients on programs. So it's a process. So we take them to the process step by step. And usually, actually not usually, it's always like this, is the first appointment when they come see me. Part of the program or the plan for that month is not just avoid sugar. We absolutely avoid sugar. We all also avoid all gluten
Mm-hmm.
and all dairy, believe it or not,
I
and
do
sugar.
believe it.
Yes. Those three things we right off the bat before the food allergies test come back, I usually direct my patients to just get off gluten, dairy, and sugar.
Well, I mean, don't they freak out?
I haven't seen that reaction. because some of them are already off gluten. They already kind of figured it out because people are getting really a lot of medical information now through the internet. So they're pretty educated. My patients are very educated. They are the CEOs or the producers. I'm right by the Hollywood, so a lot of producers, script writers, entertainment attorneys. So they are pretty educated people.
Mm.
So they are very aware the gluten is a big problem. So they're already off gluten, not so much from dairy because people like cheeses. So they do like the cheeses. And if they have to eat the cheese, I usually tell them don't buy American, buy a British. So if you buy an English cheese, it's much better
Oh, I
than,
know. Yeah,
than
because
buying.
what, like, it's just better quality and it's actually made according to what traditional ways.
Yes, yes, so much better. If I have to eat myself cheese, that's what I do.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so, what do the hormones and hormone therapy have to do with sugar and nutrition?
That's actually a great question. And that's another point that I actually hone in with the patients is that if you eat sugar, you are going to lower all your hormones across the board.
Is that a good
So
thing?
no, if you're
Ah,
lowering your hormones, that's not a good thing for you.
okay.
So don't ask me to balance your hormones if you're already cutting it down by eating sugar.
Hmm.
So they know that that's the key component of the treatment plan. So I don't have maybe once or twice, maybe somebody sugarholic. But you know what? The funny thing is that when the body gets healthy, they don't crave sugar. The
It's true.
craving, and I tell them that exact thing. I say, if you eat, not if you, when you eat healthy, your body is not going to tell you to eat sugar or chocolate or candy because it's hungry. The reason you are craving sugar is because your body is malnourished. So it's asking for instant gratification because it doesn't have the fuel to go on. So
Yeah.
all you have to do is if you change the first month the diet, because we work with nutritionists. I have a nutritionist on board in my practice. So then she gets on the phone and she does counseling, and that's a big help because the patients really love that. So
Ah,
they have a nutrition. I'm not doing the nutrition part, but of course I know about it, and I've trained my nutritionist on what the program is. So they work with her, and she makes it easy for them to follow instructions and do it.
okay. And they notice a change just from cutting sugar in their hormones?
Not in the hormone. So we're not doing one thing at a time, right? Otherwise, it's going to take me 100 years for me to get you where you need to get to.
Mm.
So we do multiple things in the synergist. So that produces a synergistic effect. So that's what I'm doing. Every month, I'm putting in the pieces of the puzzle. When they are put together, you get a synergistic effect. So if
Mm.
I remove the dairy and the gluten and sugar, and now I start giving you hormones, you will be feeling a lot better than if you were taking the hormones and also eating sugar. And sugar is nobody's friend. I haven't eaten personally sugar for, I don't know, 25 years.
Yeah, wow. Amazing. And how do you feel for it?
Oh, I feel great. Well, the other thing is that people who are like craving, like they think, oh my gosh, you're going to take my sugar away. What I say is, I like monk fruit. I know there's some people don't like monk fruit, but I do like monk fruit. I think it's totally fine. And it tastes great. It tastes just like sugar, but it doesn't mess with your blood sugar levels. So I tell them, okay, if you want to eat sugar, eat something, just use monk fruit for a bit. And then they do. And they say, yeah, okay. And I say, make your own cookies with your monk fruit.
Uh-huh.
And so they do. We give them recipes, they make the cookies. I mean, you don't have to suffer, in other words.
Exactly. And for some people, I find your natural personality, for some of us, I'm one of these sort of all or nothing people. So I had to cut it all out straight away. And other people are more moderators, I call them, and they might need this sort of gradual,
For sure.
change over to monk fruit and then gradually, stop that. And then
Yes.
fine, so be it.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody is like, you have to give personalized treatment.
Yeah.
You can't really do one size fits all. So you have to kind of work with that person's willingness to what they can do. And then that's what we do. We do it at a gradient. Some people, like I can move 100 miles an hour, right? But not everybody is moving at 100 miles an hour. So some patient will request me, they say, doctor, we want to go slow. Sure, I'll just reduce my speed because I'm very excited to see the patient healthy and happy and really vibrant and healthy and feel like they can accomplish what their life's dreams are.
Hmm.
Because if your health is not good, you can't achieve those things. And
Exactly.
so how good is that you're living what kind of life? So I usually, like, if somebody's a writer and they can't concentrate and they can't write their novel, what kind of life is that? So I want to bring them back to where they're excited and they're doing what they're following the dreams as fast as possible. But if there are people like sometimes I get housewives that are like, okay, I don't have a career or something, so I want to just do it slow. Say, okay, no problem. We just do it slow and it's totally fine. I mean, either way, you get there.
Yes, 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 exactly. And so now that you've lived so long in the States, from your memories of India, what do you, what are the like the biggest differences that you've noticed in terms of what people eat?
Well, in those times, now I know a lot has changed. I mean, now the Burger King, the McDonald's are in New Delhi.
Hmm.
They weren't there when I was growing up. So the biggest thing, yeah, I think it's all homemade. There's no food that you can eat in the restaurants. I'm sure there were restaurants, but my mom always cooked at home. So you know what you're putting in your food, what
Hmm.
chemicals, what flavors, what are you doing? You know, because you can control the spices, you can control everything. So my mom was an excellent cook. So she did a great job. And we had fantastic food. So food was never even a problem for me. See?
Hmm.
And you eat whatever you eat, and you're always physically active. Other countries like Europe, you go there, people are walking.
Yes.
They're not. In this country, we are so sedentary that everything adds on one on top of the other. Exercise is not happening. So even if you eat sugar, you eat whatever, if you're walking, you're exercising, it's less of a burden on the body than when you're sedentary and you're eating sugar.
Uh-huh. And have you found that what you eat has changed since you moved to the USA?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'll tell you, this is really funny because I'm Hindu, right? I was born Hindu.
Hmm.
And so we don't kill the cows, as you know, the sacred
Right.
cows. But when I came here and I was with my brother and he was like, oh yeah, we're going to Burger King and eat a hamburger.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, okay, we'll eat the hamburger. But you just don't feel like the taste is actually good. It's
Hmm.
not. The food doesn't taste as good. Even if you go to the supermarket, and I was like, wow, these are huge tomatoes, right? They're huge cauliflower, huge everything, but the taste is not so good because they are GMO'd. They are not tasty. So I noticed that now my food changed so much. I mean, I remember before functional medicine, I was like eating at the fast food every day, like my favorite, food, Carl's Jr., whatever. And I would eat and I would drink those strawberry shakes. I used to love. That was like the first few years of my life in the US.
Hmm.
And once I started working on my health, then I realized I can't do any of it. And so the second major change that happened after coming to the United States was I started making my own food.
Uh-huh.
Because you can't really do without that. You have to make your own food however you want to do it. Like in LA, I don't know if you're aware, but in LA, there's so many companies that have sprung up in last several years that make meal preps for you.
Yes.
So my patients who are like, oh, I can't cook. Okay, no problem. So you have choices. You can have the meal kits delivered to you, or you can have fully cooked meals that are delivered to you fresh. Even some companies do it on a daily basis. So it all depends that you can kind of do what the patient can do, sort of
Right.
thing.
Right. And do you know how to cook?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I recently bought an air fryer.
Aha,
And
yes.
I've been experimenting with the air fryer. It's kind of fun. I can heat up things without putting in the microwave, when I'm not too hungry and I
Uh-huh.
have to eat something fast. But I think air fryer is a fantastic invention. And so people can cook food more faster and more gently. And so, they're not charbroiled. They're not being put on those, fires and they burn the food as you're cooking the barbecue, right?
Right.
So I don't tell patients to barbecue anything because it is carcinogenic. So you
Okay.
don't want to do that. And so the best way to cook food is either steaming or baking or things like that.
Uh-huh. And was it your mum that taught you how to cook?
She did. You know what she would tell me? She
What?
said, Anju, you have to learn how to cook, otherwise you'll have trouble with your mother-in-law.
Ah, was she right?
But I was very rebellious. I used to be very rebellious, but I did learn. I said, I have to learn everything. So whether I use it or not, I didn't use it for many years. But now, like I said, there is no choice. We don't have a choice to eat outside. I mean, I do know some restaurants in LA that are fantastic, that are organic. So you can eat, like actually where my practice is, right across the street is an organic restaurant, Hugo's restaurant. So sometimes we go there, everything is organic. We have patients here that own organic restaurants. So we go to their restaurants. There is options available in LA.
Wow, amazing. Yes, there's that for sure. If you had one piece of advice to give, not just your patients, but everyone listening about their health and sugar, what would that be?
Yeah, I wouldn't eat any sugar, period. Absolutely no sugar. And like you said, you just stop it cold turkey. That's the best way because then you don't have to worry about weaning off. And it is actually very easy.
Yeah. Wow. Well, your story is very inspiring, and what you do is so positive in the world. So thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
You're very welcome. Oh, I love this conversation with Dr. Anju. I loved hearing about her journey from growing up in India with home cooked food to becoming a conventional doctor and then shifting into functional medicine to be able to really put the focus on the root cause rather than just the symptoms. And she reminds us that sugar affects more than just our cravings. It can impact our energy, our hormones, and our overall sense of well-being. And I 100% agree that cutting sugar doesn't have to feel like a punishment. In fact, the feeling of freedom that you can have when you cut sugar and therefore get rid of cravings is exactly what I teach inside of my Freedom from Cravings Formula 12-week program. Because I created this program specifically to help you go deeper into your relationship with sugar and flour so that you can finally get rid of cravings, slim down, and feel more in control around food. In the program, you'll get step-by-step guidance and customized support through the 5-step formula that I've developed to help you get control over cravings so that you can finally live your life with more energy and fit into your favorite clothes effortlessly and feel confident in your food choices so that you can ditch the shame and embarrassment that you feel every time your emotions make you slip or fall off the wagon, and so that you never feel like you're on some kind of restrictive diet. If you're at the stage of your life when you're finally ready to look after yourself, let's chat. You can talk directly to me on a free clarity call at any time by going to aftersugarclub.com and clicking on program at the top. You'll also find the link with the show notes together with this episode. So go to aftersugarclub.com. Speak to you soon. That's it for this week. Keep in touch and see you soon for another episode.